All right, so welcome back to the garage. This is part 2 of my 3-part series on lower back pain care. If you saw the last video, I gave 3 different spots to roll out or trigger point to help relieve tension on the muscles that pull on the lower back. Today we're going to cover 3 stretches that do the same thing. They're going to relieve some of the tension on the muscles that pull on the lower back. So the first stretch we're going to cover today is going to be the couch stretch or the wall stretch. All you're gonna need, some sort of open space on a wall, and what we're gonna stretch out are your quads and your hip flexors. So the role that these play with lower back pain is they pull down on your pelvis. So if I'm standing here and this is my neutral stance, my quads and hip flexors pull my pelvis, bam, down. So what happens to my lower back from there is it all gets crunched together like you were just pulling back on all the vertebrae, and it gets very short. So if we can take these quads and hip flexors and loosen them, then we come back to a neutral position. Your lower back can relax and is no longer constantly in tension being pulled backwards by the pelvis. So what we're gonna do, go ahead and find your spot on the wall. We're going to back your shin up until it's flat against the wall, and then you're gonna simply step your opposite foot forward. Now, if you've never done this stretch before, you may yell, you may scream. It's gonna feel like your quad muscle is being ripped off of the bone. Know that that is just common for tight hips and tight quads. So your job is to breathe through this and actively be in this position by squeezing this butt cheek to press your hip forward towards the ground. It's not gonna get there because everyone's hips are very tight from how much we sit all day. If this is too much to bear and it's like way too much, just pull your knee a little bit further away from the wall. Otherwise, if you can stand it, keep it flat to the wall. And we're gonna spend 1 minute here actively pushing our hips forward. You can kind of push more towards your heel. You can push more out here towards the outside. Whatever is tightest needs the most time. So spend some time in those tight corners. Then after a minute has gone by and you feel some sort of change happen, all you're gonna do is posture up. And you can see, because my quads are tight from squatting the other day, it's a little hard to get up here. But the important piece is making sure that we are posturing up from hip extension, so my hips being forward, and not just spinal extension. So I'm not just arching back into the wall, but I am actively pressing my hips forward and loosening up all this hip flexor and quad tension. Again, you'll spend another minute there while you're postured up, and we'll move on to our next stretch. So stretch number 2 is the runner's lunge. So this is like Spider-Man, world's greatest, called a lot of things. You're just gonna have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, hands are gonna be flat on the floor, and one of the important pieces is that your back leg is straight. So lock that back leg out, and we're gonna spend a minute here trying to get your elbow towards your ankle or towards the floor. Whatever you're able to do, whatever your mobility allows you to. So you might be someone who their elbow only gets to mid-calf. That's fine. Stretch yourself out, spend some time here, try to get this elbow a little lower, a little lower, a little lower. Maybe you get to the floor, maybe you don't today. Save it for next week and just keep working on it. So that's stretch number 2. We're stretching deeper hip flexion with that one, so knee forward. The last stretch, we did hip extension with your leg back. This stretch was leg forward. Third and final stretch is gonna be for that piriformis that we rolled out the other day. You're gonna lay your shin outside, and this is pigeon pose from yoga. So making sure you're not just sitting on your hip here, but you are squared to the floor. The more perpendicular your shin, the deeper the stretch. If you're really tight, just put your foot back underneath your body. It's all good, let's spend some time here. Otherwise, get it up there in a perpendicular position. Spend maybe 30 seconds here, just upright, having good posture, and then you can spend the next 30 seconds down low. You can explore a little bit here, pivoting your belly button towards your knee. You can pivot it towards your foot and kind of find where those tight corners are and work on those tight areas where you need to relieve some tension. So those are our 3 stretches. Again, you're gonna do a minute of the couch stretch or the wall stretch with your hands on the floor, a minute postured up, hit that on each side. Then you go ahead and do your runner's lunge, a minute each side, and then a minute in pigeon. Cool. That's everything for today. Tune in tomorrow to go over 3 strengthening exercises to help strengthen these muscles that we just stretched out. Cool, see you next time.